Howdy everybody and welcome to the Praise the Pickle Retrospect, where we talk about the video games we've been playing for the week and also our community feedback. So first things first, my name is Benjamin Watts. I am joined by Mr. Daniel Watts.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. And I'm also joined by Mr. Kevin Hart.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, very good, very good.
Wonderful.
Mm.
And second thing is second, usually. If you guys want to leave us any feedback, then just hit us on any of our social medias and our email, which are...
Is praisethepicklepodcast@gmail.com. What's the next one? We've got Instagram, which is Praise the Pickle Podcast, or Twitter and Facebook, which is Praise the Pickle. Who would have guessed it, eh?
Who would have bloody guessed it, eh? And third thing is third, we love you, and I'm sure some of you out there love us as well, so please leave us a subscription or a cheeky little rating or review on your podcast platform of choice, because we're on everything, because we just invaded the entire internet. That's kind of how we roll. So, let's jump into the games that we have been playing this week. Who wants to start?
Should we start with an exciting one? One that everyone wants to hear about.
Oh, God.
Yeah?
Yeah? Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. I was like, what game is that?
Come on.
Yeah, so, Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. Dan had the joyous, pleasurous opportunity to stay around my house on Monday, and conveniently the Final Fantasy demo came out. So we had
I planned it.
He planned it.
Can I just put a little thing in there?
Yeah.
You guys have to understand just how excited both Dan and Ben were for the fact that when Ben's girlfriend filmed both of them.
Oh, I forgot about that.
They were like little kids, like they're slapping their legs, massive smiles on their faces. It just pans to this game, and it was kind of. I kind of felt like I missed out.
It was mad. Okay.
No.
It was mad.
Yeah, it was alright, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a So, it looked great. It looked amazing, I have to say. On a base amazing. PS4, my God, how have they made it look like good? I have no idea. The only game I've seen that looks better is Death Stranding. Like,
better? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Death Stranding is in a whole different league, man. It's insane. But it played really well. The combat was really fun. I thought, like the way you could switch up your stance mid battle was really cool. The combat was in general. Not combat. Sorry, we're talking about the ability to slow down time and select your abilities and items and stuff like that was really good as well. That was it sort of blends that turn-based hack and slash style together, which was quite cool. Cloud is a moany little bitch.
No, he's not. He's a badass.
He's a badass, but my God, does he sigh too much? He's just like, and
okay.
Yeah, the characters were just like
great.
I remember them, just great. Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Did you know? I just found this out the other day that Wedge, the big guy with the bandana and the grenade launcher.
Yeah.
The person that voices him is Badger from Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's mad. What? That's not
when
someone.
When you go back and hear his voice again, you'll be like, "Oh my God!"
Oh God, that just does not feel right in my brain. But okay. Oh God, that's so weird. Okay. Yeah, fine. It was. Okay, so what did you think?
Where's the butt? You're leading up to
I am leading up to the butt, but I'll let you do your thoughts first. Go on.
It looked amazing. it did look incredible.
It did. Yeah.
Some of the best lighting I've seen potentially ever. I thought the combat was amazing.
The combat was great. Yeah.
Good. It was just so satisfying, and the pace of it was just right. It was fast, but you could slow down and think about things. There was lots of focus on positioning and combat and synergy between the different characters. You only got 2 in the demo, and you only got like the first, was it hour or so of the game? It felt just the right level of authentic and true to the original, while still feeling really fresh and with lots of new mechanics and very, very modernized. I've never seen a combat system like it really either, which I thought was really cool. Like, you had some of the Final Fantasy games, I'm trying to think, was it like 13 had a live action combat system to it? I mean, you could run around in combat,
but it's sort of like
turn-based.
Yeah, it charged up your meter, didn't it, to do your attacks sort of thing. So it was kind of turn-based, but depending on your speed and endurance and stuff like that, it would charge up quicker. So it was not completely binary turn-based, if that makes sense.
And then 15 was kind of like that. You were fighting in live time between abilities, but it didn't have the slowdown stuff, and you, as far as I remember anyway, and I think you could essentially just hold down the attack button and everyone would just attack by themselves. And there is a mode like that in Final Fantasy VII apparently, where the characters will auto attack by themselves and all you have to do is use the menus, which sounds really boring to me. But
is that the classic mode? Yeah, I've heard that. So. Yeah.
But I thought it was really quite well thought out and quite tactical, and a lot of people actually found it really hard. I mean, we aced it obviously because we're pros.
Yeah,
lots of people found it quite difficult, which I think is a really good sign. It means people are going to have to think when they fight, and you do have to watch your health, and you do have to stay on top of your resources. And I like that there's dodging and parrying and rolling as well as everything else, and the animations during combat are so satisfying.
Yeah,
and
the animations are
really
insane. Good. Like, they're so good.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. The sound design is incredible. Little kind of attention to detail things, stunning environments. I'm finding it hard to fault. I mean, maybe the platforming stuff. What was your butt?
My butt? I don't know if it's as good as we think it is, because I think we're just hitting that nostalgia. Like the nostalgia bullet that comes with that game just hit us directly in the forehead, as you could see from our giddy dancing on Instagram. And it was like, and it's like, it's the music and the characters and that familiarity to it, and I don't know whether it's actually as good as we think it might be, because I wonder whether it's just a nostalgia trip and it's not an astoundingly good game by itself, if that makes sense. Like, if it didn't have the link to Final Fantasy VII, and it didn't have Cloud in it, and it didn't have Tifa in it, and Red 13 or all that jazz, like, would you be as hyped about it? I don't know. I don't know if I'd be that hyped about it if this was Final Fantasy 16 and these are all new characters. I don't know if it would.
I've been thinking about that all week, but I do genuinely think it's a good game. I think
it is 100% a good game. Like, to me, I think it was a 10 out of 10 for me personally, because of how much I like Final Fantasy VII, and just hearing that soundtrack remastered and just everything, and it was so well done as a remake, you know. But I wonder whether the game itself is more like an 8 out of 10, you know.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't know. I think a lot of it is the Final Fantasy world for sure, but I don't know. Obviously, it's hard for us to try and put ourselves into the shoes. It'd be interesting to hear your perspective on it, Kevin. Yeah, it's really cool if you play, because I don't think you've played Final Fantasy VII, have you?
I've never played a single Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, so it'd be really interesting for you to play it and tell us what you think. Actually, I think that would be the perfect example of what we're talking about. But I get that. I've been trying to grapple with that all week. Really, how much of it is nostalgia and that soundtrack, which is a good soundtrack.
That's bloody good, isn't it? It's so good.
The sound design is great. It is genuinely a good soundtrack, and I really don't know if it makes a difference whether you've played it before or not. It's still a good story. It's still good characters. It's still good writing. It's Barrett is funny as hell in this one. I loved it.
Wait, who's Wedge?
I thought Cloud. Wedge is the fat one, basically, with the red bandana and the big grenade launcher. Not the guy with the gun for a hand.
I thought you said it was the fat dude.
No, not Barrett.
Yeah, because you said I was like, I'm sure his name's not Wedge, but okay. So in my head, I had fucking Badger as Barrett in my head, and I was like, what? Kevin, I'll send you a picture of Barrett just because you've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of Barrett so you can see why
the confusion came from. No, I think it's going to be great, and everyone that's played it for more than the hour, like journalists that have played the first 2 or 3 hours, have said that it just gets better and better and better. And
oh, really?
I think it's going to be it's going to be a blockbuster because it's Final Fantasy VII, but I think newcomers to the series will really like this as well. I think you have to have a little bit of an affinity for RPGs and JRPG stuff, but not that much. Not as much as you would have had to for a turn-based game.
Yeah.
I think it's got just the right level of tactical combat with exploration and all the character-driven stuff. And it's westernized just enough, I think, in terms of the voice acting is really good and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean, though, Kev? Like, some Japanese games are a bit
daunting.
Less... Yeah. They're a bit harder to
sink your teeth into.
To relate to in the West. You know, if you're not like a big anime person, then it's kind of hard to get into anime, for example.
Yeah, it'd be like someone that doesn't like anime or JRPGs playing Persona 5. Like, you just would not like it. It's like a 90-hour game.
Potentially.
It's just, it's not for everyone. I
think it's objectively an amazing game with amazing mechanics and graphics and story and everything in between. I don't think it's the nostalgia as much as we maybe think it is.
Maybe, yeah. I am worried about the not the length of it, but the padding. Because from at the end of the demo, it shows, like it does at all demos, it shows like a little snippet of what's to come, and then of course brings up the buy now menu. But it didn't show much. It only showed stuff which I remember being in like the first few hours on Final Fantasy VII, the original one. So like, you know, it didn't show any new characters. It didn't give any indication as to how far into the story it goes.
No.
So I am worried that this is going to end up being like a 5-part thing. Because I've also heard that the creator of it has said that he would happily work on this for the rest of his career. I don't know how old he is, to be fair. It could be like 60 odd. But you know, like if that's the case, I like it, but not enough to wait 10 years between each installment. And
that's my issue, is the wait between installments. I don't think it's going to be padded. I don't think there's going to be loads of filler content. Like,
well, it's already been padded quite a bit, isn't it?
Not really.
Well, even the
what we've seen so far is exactly the same pacing as what we played in the original, really.
Is it? I'm sure it's... Most of those in-between rooms weren't in the original. I'm sure, like, in the original, you start off, you fight a few people, and then you fight the big scorpion dude.
No, you get ambushed by guards, like, constantly in the original. It's just combat after combat, and that takes even longer. So in terms of time to completion, it's probably the same or maybe even more in the original, from what I remember. But I think I've read somewhere that the first chapter might only be about 20 hours if you just play through the main story and don't do any of the
I'm more than happy with that, though, man. Like, JRPGs, it's hard calling this a JRPG because it doesn't really feel like one. But some of them are just so long. Like, Charlotte's playing Dragon Quest at the minute, and she's about 50 hours in, and she still hasn't, like, near the end. It's ridiculous. And I'm just like, I have not got the time for that in my life.
That's why I didn't get Fire Emblem. Look as good as it looks.
I've got it now. I actually bought it today in Kingston.
Oh wow! Okay.
I think it's for. I think Charlotte's going to play it though. To be honest, I think because I think she's hopefully near the end of Dragon Quest, and then she can dive into that. But
cool.
Yeah, bit of a tangent there. It's 20 hours is perfect. You know, the rest of the 60 hours I use those to play like Apex.
20 hours is perfect, but they've already said that the next chapters... Well, we know for a fact the next chapter is going to come out during the next generation of consoles. Yeah. So that's going to be a bit weird. But
it should be a shorter gap between them now. Because they've got all the assets already, haven't they?
Years and years and years to make.
Yeah, but they were doing it from the ground up.
Mostly done. I would hope that they're mostly done by now, to be honest. That they've pretty much most of the way through the third and I think it's going to be 3 chapters. That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon a trilogy of games that make up the full game.
Yeah, I'm hoping the
20
reason
hours
it's
each,
taken
60 hours sounds about
yeah,
right.
I'm hoping the reason it's taken this long is because they wanted to get most of them near completion before releasing the first one. Because that would be.
I mean, they finished
clever
filming
thing,
all of the Lord of the Rings films. Like by the time the first one was finished, they filmed them all at the same time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Most of it done, and after that, it was just polishing and touching up and whatnot.
Yeah.
A bit of CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm getting it day one still, obviously, because I'm a noob.
Yeah, I would as well if I was.
Yeah. This is
What
was the first thing you said to me afterwards? You might actually have to borrow my PlayStation now.
No, you've had Gears of War, Death Stranding, which all look amazing and right up my street. But
Gears of War.
Sorry, not Gears of War. Idiot. God of War.
God of War. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, those were tempting and looked amazing, but they weren't enough to make me actually want a cheap PlayStation. And now I've played this, I'm like, it's Final Fantasy VII, man.
No, it's mad.
Like, what do I do next? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. It was great. Yeah. I'm looking forward. That is the bit of the game I remember the most. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they reimagine the bits that I don't remember as much. If that makes sense.
Okay.
This one was kind of like watching a movie again. You know, in like Blu-ray as opposed to VHS. Okay. So it'll be nice to see how the rest of the story pans out. But yeah, cool. Next game. Well, what have we? Let's do it like I say it like it's a new idea every week, but let's do it like we always do it. What games have we all played? So we've all played a bit of Apex. It's great. I still love it. I'm still shite at it, but I love it. Anything else to add about Apex, guys?
Not really.
Some buildings are a bit weird.
Huh?
So you can't run up them. But you can't start
yeah, but
roofs.
minor issues.
I thought you were having a dig at me for getting stuck in that building the other day.
No. I'll have a dig on you for riding your train to your death, but
or a dig at Dan for costing us the win of that game earlier.
Or dropping a bombardment on our heads a few days ago.
God, it's always you, isn't it? It's always
I'm awful. I keep killing us in the last circle.
The pressure, you can't handle it.
No, clearly not.
It's like, what do? Kamikaze!
I've just realised how many times I've messed up our game.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm really bad.
Why do we still let you play with us? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Cool. And we've also played Hunt Showdown. So we gave our first impressions on it last week. And it's not...
Kevin's joined us since. What are you thinking?
Yeah,
Kev?
what do you think, Kev?
It was going from Apex Legends to that game.
It's weird,
yeah.
Isn't it?
When I first got into the game, I was trying to sprint and I wasn't going anywhere. Because Apex, you run at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
It's
in this game.
It's a really hard game to switch between, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's such a well done game. It's so much fun. I'm still getting to grips with the whole where to go, and
yeah, but you didn't do the tutorial though because we wanted to play with you, so we just sort of chucked you in there. Yeah.
I still don't really feel as if I've had that. I've played 4 games so far, and we've won 3 of them and lost 1, and it just seems as if there's no one ever around.
So
it does feel a bit empty sometimes.
Yeah,
it does depend. So it's basically you do random contracts, and if it's a 2 boss contract, then it's generally quite easy. Because if you just happen to get to the boss first, a lot of the time people are like, can we really be bothered to wait this one out and, get into a fight with these guys and whatnot? Or should I just go for the other boss? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one boss contract is where...
2 bosses all the time?
We do random, so
you don't get a choice.
Okay.
So the one boss contracts are the ones where it gets really fishy, man. It's so good. Because all the teams are going to one point. I don't even know why the 2 ones are in it, to be honest. I think they're a bit naff. Not naff, just a bit... It takes...
They're good if you just want to get experience.
Yeah,
and
but it shouldn't be that easy. And most of the time we do a 2 boss contract, you can just go... The worst case scenario... it's not worst case scenario, but worst case for us that we've had is we had to take out 1 team. That's it. And then we can just run straight out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Also, it helps when you got down who's some sniping god or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, Dan. How are you so shy to Apex, but you're so bloody good at Hunt? It's ridiculous. But yeah, it's still great. Me and Dan had a wicked game on it where we wiped out an entire server pretty much, and
So that was a one boss one. Everyone just kind of got bottlenecked into one area.
Yeah.
We got there first. I think we decided not to kill the boss. Right?
Yeah, we waited out.
We got all the clues. We knew where the boss was, and we just sat there and waited for people to come to us. And that was so tense.
Yeah.
Such good fights.
Yeah, it was good. Like, I had a little watchtower outside of the main building. You were on top of the main building. And so when they kept going to my watchtower to sort of like, because it was the only cover outside of the main building where Dan was, so they kept going to my thing, and then I could tell Dan that they were below me, so he could get them, or Dan could tell them they were, in shouting into each other basically, and I set up like bear traps and all the ladders and stuff. So when they came up, they got bear traps. It was just so good, man. It was such like a little tactical. That's like the. Where the game shines is those bottlenecking places, which is why I'm not a big fan of the 2 boss ones. So, yeah.
Unlike that time you closed the door on me.
Did I?
the game, I think it was the first day we played. You were in a room with somebody. I was lining up the perfect shot on his head to protect you, and you shut the door. I was like, no, I needed that.
Yeah, that was just poor intel on it, but yeah, but it's still great. We won't talk about it much more. I think it's just going to be one of those games in our rotation now that we just keep playing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah,
it's a nice, even though it's a hard transition from Apex, it's a really nice break from it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for sure.
I think that's everything we've all played, isn't it?
Have either of you started playing Game of the Month yet?
Oh God, I haven't played any more yet. No.
I'm just gonna let you know right now. I've gotten to the second area of the place, and it's just as big as the first.
Oh God.
So you're gonna want to start sticking your neck out or something, man.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna just have to call it quits for this one because.
Yeah, it's we'll discuss it off pod, but it's for some reason I just have no motivation to play it. Just mainly because I know how long it is. I think I'm just like I'm never gonna get it done. So when you have an essay due or something, and you're just like, I can't be arsed.
That's why, like I always do, is I start the essay early.
Yeah, well, you're a sensible lad.
I started the day before it's due.
Yeah.
The night before.
Yeah, so.
Essays due in the morning. I should probably start looking at the title.
I thought you were going to say you started the essay before it was even given out, considering that's what you started doing, didn't you?
In this case,
yeah. I suppose you did, yeah.
I was like, it'll be easy. I'm ahead of everybody. That'll take him a while to catch up. And now Kevin's like way further than me. And Adam's probably completed it 3 times in hardcore.
Yeah, he probably has.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to complete it, if I'm honest. In hindsight, we should not be picking 30, 40, 50. I don't know, it was like between 20 and 40 hours or something. We should not be picking games of that length if we have to complete it in like a month. But I don't even know if we mentioned on the pod, our Moonlight episode has been delayed because we picked such a bloody long game. So that will come out randomly at some point when we've all completed it. So go follow us on social media and we'll let you know when it's happening. But our game of the month, no one has even mentioned, have they? It is Disco Elysium, by the way.
And it's not Game of the Month anymore. It's just a Moonlight episode.
Moonlight episode. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Month is not in there anymore.
Oh yeah, there's no. We don't call it the month anymore because sometimes it's 2 months apparently. Okay, cool. That we should probably keep Adam up to date on what's happening with that as well. He's probably like,
True.
"Come on, guys, I've completed it. Hurry up." Anyway, do you want me to go through my games?
Yeah, that's with it.
Right. So, I've played 2 new games this week. First one is called My Beautiful Paper Smile. And it's a game by a company called 2 Star Games.
Is it a 2-star game?
No. It's a narrative horror game, I guess you'd call it, which is basically you play as a child in a facility where they basically force you to smile all the time and to wear masks, and if you show any emotion, then something miscellaneous happens to those that show emotion. So kind of similar to that. What was that thing? We Happy Few game, where they take drugs to stay happy, sort of thing. It's kind of like that, I think, but more along the lines of adults forcing children to be happy without drugs, sort of thing. It has this really, really good art style, man. Like, it's like this scribble drawn thing. It's like, in a horror movie when like the kid's possessed. Yeah. So the kid's possessed, and then the mum goes up to their room and they've been drawing loads of pictures, and they're drawing it with a pen, and it's
like charcoal.
Charcoal. Yeah, exactly. The whole game looks like that, right? And it's got it's set kind of like Paper Mario style. So everything's like paper, 2D, but in like a 3D world. If that makes sense. So even the world is made up of 2D planes and stuff, but it's still 3D, so you can still move towards the camera and stuff like that, like Paper Mario. The art style and stuff visually is absolutely stunning and really, really horrible to look at, which is perfect. And but the gameplay is a little bit lacking, if I'm honest. It feels like it's held up there with its really, really strong art style, but the gameplay is kind of basic. It's got a good narrative to it, and it's intriguing trying to figure out what's going on.
Is that not what it is? Like just a sort of a interactive novel?
Yeah, which would be perfect if it was just that, but gameplay mechanics are added into it which just seem a bit unnecessary. So, for example...
Like what? What sort of mechanics?
Okay, so I walk towards a gap, and there is a big gap, and the character goes, oh, there must be a way to move across here, and then you have to walk back a bit and find a room, and there's a plank of wood in there, and you put the plank of wood on it. So it's like... they're not mechanics within themselves, they're just...
Obstacles.
Yeah, general obstacles, which
extra ways to slow you down.
Yeah, which I don't feel like really need to be there, if I'm honest. I feel like if it was just a narrative-driven, visual masterpiece that it is already, it would be a lot stronger. I think that's my main sort of quarrel with it. I found it more frustrating. So, for example, there's this so everyone has a happy face mask on them, and there's this you go into like this place, I don't know, like the back rooms of this facility, and there's a sad faced mask thing that sort of like glitches and chases you. If you know what I mean by glitches, sort of like up the hallway sort of thing, chases you. Kind of pretty scary. Like even though it's a paper style, it's still pretty creepy. And but I just found it more annoying than anything. So like it was scary, but it was just annoying because you die, and then the last autosave was like a few minutes back, and you have to go through all the dialogue again and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it felt a bit trial and error-y. It didn't. It felt. I don't know. It was weird. It was good. Don't get me wrong, and I feel like some people might gel with it better than me. I had a few issues with the gameplay, and I just found it a bit frustrating more than fun. And I don't expect it to be fun. I just don't want it to be frustrating. If that makes sense.
Do you reckon?
What sort of gameplay? Sorry, go on, Kevin.
I was going to say, first. Do you reckon they've put more thought into and time into the making the game how it is, the way it looks, rather than actually
potentially
the gameplay side of it?
Yeah, I if I was to guess, I would say that this was inspired by the art more than I don't.
A good game idea.
Yeah, I don't think they. I imagine they probably drew loads of pictures along this side, or had this art style in mind already, and then the game was inspired by the art, as opposed to them writing a story and then basing the art around the story, sort of thing. I think it was more along those lines, but That's a complete guess. I could be completely wrong, so I don't know. But
it sounds like it's a world building idea that they had. Like they had an idea for a narrative, a story, and a place that they wanted to explore, like an environment. But they hadn't. By the time they started working on it, they hadn't worked out.
Yeah, I just feel like it needs some
to do that.
Some smarter mechanics in it, even if they're
I was going to
quite
ask
basic.
you, what do you think, based on what you've played, would be a good style of gameplay for this? Like, what would you like to see?
Puzzle gameplay.
What sort of puzzles would work well in this world though? Because lots of puzzle games are kind of a bit more.
Not like a platformy style, not anything like that. More just like this door requires a key combination sort of thing, and then I don't know, you might have to manipulate a light source to create shadows which give you the key combination or something. I don't know, just really slow paced, that sort of stuff.
Missing a mechanic.
It is. That's its issue. Yeah.
Because you can come up like the putting the plank across the platform thing, that or the gap thing. That's just like finding a key card to a door.
Exactly.
And that's just such an age-old traditional thing that doesn't really inspire much thought or anything. You just go looking for the thing that opens the thing, and you know there's nothing special about that. So there needs to be an additional way of interacting with the world.
Yeah, or something like if the glitch monster only chases you when you're when you're moving, for example. Or just, something like that to make it not just a 2D race. Because, like, you'll be running down a hallway, this glitch monster's chasing you, and you're just running in a straight line down a hallway, and there's nothing more to it, sort of thing. It's a bit... I should have said this first, really. I have only played the demo, so I haven't played a ton of it. I think it's just the first chapter out of 4, I think.
I feel like it could really make use of the two. Sorry, I'm spitballing a bit here, but I feel like it could really make use of the 2D.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I haven't seen a game that looks like this or has this style in ages.
Because I've seen a couple of screenshots and that's all I've seen. But based on what I have seen, you might have a mechanic where your character can tilt into the 2D plane and fit through small gaps or something.
Yeah, exactly. So something. But I think
using that dimensional shift would be quite.
Yeah,
cool.
but it is an art style. It's not. It's not. Like your character is aware that they're 2Ds, or it's not.
It's like kids' drawings, isn't it? It's like sounds like you're playing through the imagination of a kid that's in this facility or whatever. It's a cool concept. It is. It's a really cool concept.
It's I think to be honest, I think I'll probably get it just because I am intrigued by the story and the art style is as good as it is. So like, I think I do want to play the rest of it. And there might be some mechanics later on,
maybe.
But just to begin with, it's just very bare bones in terms of mechanics, which is a bit of a shame. But
if they price it right, it could do well. Maybe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but then at the same time, I'm like, when someone's put this much effort into the art and in a video game, I'm like, should it really be a low price? I don't know, but we shall see. I don't know. I think it's due for release second quarter of this year, so I will check out the full game then and let you guys know my thoughts then.
Sweet.
And the other game I've played, which is the complete opposite of My Beautiful Babe Smile, is Indivisible. Indivisible is fantastic. It is so good, man. I'm completely hooked. It's a side-scrolling platformer JRPG kind of turn-based combat. It just got onto Xbox Game Pass, which is why I'm playing it.
Yeah. You said you were going to play it.
It is absolutely brilliant. I adore this game. Like it is getting close to being up there with some of my favourite of all time. Like it.
Wow.
Basically, the story is quite cheesy, kind of. You're like, you are a super special person, and oh no, something happens and you must go and get revenge, and then you go and you spend half the game trying to get revenge and whatnot, and but the platforming, so the characters are brilliant. Some of the best voice acted characters I have seen in ages, or heard in ages. And you basically have all of these characters that live within your inner realm. It's kind of like it's got like Buddhist stuff to it, this game. So like you've got like inner realms and stuff. And like a third eye. When you're in your super form, you have like a third eye and stuff like that. And so you have all these characters that you meet along the way, and they join you in your inner realm, and you summon them in combat, basically. But all these characters like converse with you throughout the game, and they're just brilliant, man. They all have their own character. It's hard to explain. That everything that they say fits their personality. It's just fantastic. And then you get to the fighting. The fighting starts off by seeming like a generic kind of turn-based style, and then oh my god, when you realise the combat system, you realise how bloody good it is. It is so good, man. Like, so you got 4 characters that you use. You position them as in one top, one bottom, and then one forward, one back. And then they all have different attacks, and they basically have combos like in a fighting game. So like you can knock them up and do an aerial attack. So all of them are assigned to each one of the buttons on your controller. So A, B, X, and Y, and then you press that button with directions to do different types of attacks.
Oh, okay. That's
so like
cool.
So like I could, using my Y character, I can knock them up into the air. Meanwhile, I've flown up my A character into the sky to do an aerial attack, and while I'm waiting for that aerial attack to come down, I use another character to juggle them in the air and then smash them down to the ground with the aerial attack. And then it's unbelievably good. Like it's one of the best combat systems I've used in forever. And like I didn't realise it was this fun to have like a turn-based combat that's just this fun. There's been so many situations where I've seen an enemy and I could easily get past them, and I'm like, no. In fact, there was one situation where there was an enemy and I couldn't activate combat with it, and I spent about 5 minutes trying to activate combat with it just so I could fight it, because I refused to leave it, because I was like, no, I want to do this fight. It was like, yeah, and the platforming mechanics are just really good, man. Like it's kind of got that Metroidvania style to it. So like you start off by getting an axe, and then you can use the axe to cling onto a wall for like, but only once. So like you jump up, cling onto the wall, jump up, and then you can wall jump up, and then you get like other stuff. Like I've got this a spear which you can ping yourself up with, like a javelin sort of thing, if that makes sense. Like you bend it to the floor and then pin yourself up.
Yeah.
And then so you can do like a high jump, and then you can axe onto the side and then jump and then wall jump and stuff like that. It basically, it's such a fluid, fun platforming experience. Like again, it's just platforming, and there's nothing really that should be that exciting about it, but it's so satisfying just traversing this world with all these new mechanics that you pick up, and then like you pick up something and then the next sort of level will show more areas where you'd need to use that type of mechanic, and it's just brilliant, man. Like, okay, for example, there's one bit where you get a bow and arrow, and you can use the bow and arrow to activate like these platforms, but you have to hit a button and it activates these platforms. And then there was like loads of like wind holes, sort of broken walls with air flowing through it, and you have to like break them all from loads of different directions, and then purely through physics, like not through like the game telling you like if you shoot an arrow in this direction, this is what's going to happen. It's purely physics based. So you hit all of these wind hole things to cause all these wind paths, and then if you shoot an arrow at the right place, it basically like twists and turns down this tunnel to hit the button, which you could otherwise not hit, and it's just so good, man. It's so satisfying. But in case you can't tell by my enthusiasm, I highly recommend this game.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It's brilliant, and it's so light-hearted and fun. It's kind of like playing like a kid's TV show in a way. Like it's hard to explain. Like everyone's all bubbly and fun, and there's no like
good energy.
Yeah, good. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's just got a good energy to it. Yeah, that's basically it. But 100% recommend everyone play this. Kevin, I even recommend you play this, even though it's technically like a JRPG. Just play it. You'll love it. I can't see why anyone wouldn't like this. And give it a chance.
What game did I put it up against when we were voting for it? Because I picked this game because it looked really interesting. Was it against Dark Souls?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I wish we played this now, to be honest.
Yeah. Can always be next.
I mean, yeah, we can do it as the next one. I'll happily review this, man.
Oh yeah, you've already played it.
I don't mind. I'll play through it again. But it's insanely good, and I can't believe I put. Don't be fooled by the screenshots, and don't be fooled by the first 20 minutes of the game, because the first 20 minutes I nearly turned it off because it's a Game Pass game. I was like, not really feeling this, and now I've played about 6 hours of it already this week, and I'm just like hooked, man. It's so good, so good. Anyway, that is it. That's all I've played this week.
That's exciting. I'm looking forward to playing that now. Mm-hmm. It's annoying in a way that you've played it, because I know that for the podcast I need to play new things, not stuff that other people keep recommending. Because otherwise, one of us will play the new things.
Just invest, get it on Switch. You won't be disappointed, and then you can play it on your commutes, and you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but I've got to play through Ori first, and I haven't done that yet.
It's alright. It's no rush. Get Ori done first.
It is. I've got like 5 days left. Kevin's already ahead of me. How's that worked?
Well, you've got 5 days left till what?
The next Ori comes out.
The new one comes
out.
Oh!
I thought you were going to say till like it comes off of Xbox Game Pass. I was like, oh.
What? Yeah, Kev, you might want to consider doing some extra streams if you have. You're away this week, aren't you? Mm-hmm.
I am away this week.
Yeah.
Come on.
My chance to overtake. Have you played anything, Kevin?
I have played a new game.
Yeah, what is this? You wouldn't tell me what it was yesterday. It was annoying.
I might be really wrong for the fact that I've played this, but hey ho, it's a game that I've never seen or heard or.
Alright, I'm ready.
It's called Enter the Gungeon.
I've played this.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's good. Go on, yeah.
This is the game where you play as like a bullet, right, or something.
No, the enemies are bullets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right. Yeah.
Go on, Kev.
So for anyone that hasn't played it,
I'm sorry. I mean, I haven't played it, Kev. I haven't played it. Sorry.
How much have you played, or have you just kind of downloaded it and played a little bit?
Probably 1 or 2 hours, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, not a ton, because it was in the time where I was like really into those
type of games, yeah.
The roguelites, and I've just played through so many of them. But it was basically off the back of Binding of Isaac. When I got a bit bored of that, I was like, I'm going to try and find a new one, and that was one of them.
All right. So the game I'm going to compare it most to is probably Hotline Miami. You kind of jump from room to room in like a dungeon, and you're just shooting enemies or bullets, as Dan said. But the difference between it is that it's more of a dodging bullets, and it's a bit more hectic going on. It's not like straight death instantly. And it's pixelated.
Would you really compare it to Hotline Miami?
Kind of.
I don't know, man. I thought it was quite different.
Have you played Hotline Miami?
Yeah.
What?
The only reason I compare it to that is because I haven't really played that many games like this.
Well, it's like Binding of Isaac, isn't it?
I don't know, because Binding of Isaac, I guess so.
Well, it is. It's exactly the same genre.
I think just in my head, because Binding of Isaac, obviously every single room you go into, you get leveled up, and you get different like.
Yeah, it's the same with this, isn't it? Not leveled up. You get. Oh no, I suppose you get different guns, don't you? That's.
Well, you kind of get different. Every now and then you can get a different gun, but. And I guess Binding of Isaac, you have different characters you can go into it with, which you do on this.
I mean, it is the same game genre as Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so right at the beginning, you wake up. You wake up. You walk through a set of doors, and you're met by a penguin. And it takes you through all the buttons in the tutorial. Once you're finished, you get a choice of 5 characters, who all have different guns, and I think they have different abilities. I haven't played around too much with them, and I haven't really played around much with the abilities because I haven't needed to use them yet.
They do. Like, you get like an ultimate ability with each one. So one of them gets like 2 guns or something, and then I might be thinking of a completely different game here actually.
I mean, you can like delete all the bullets on the screen and things like that. But the first boss that I got to, so I got up to the first boss, and he's called the Gatling Gull, which I thought was quite cool. And at first you just think he's a bird, giant ass bird, but he flexes and all his feathers come off, and he's just some absolute unit of a human underneath it.
The character design in this is brilliant, man.
Yeah. But so far it's a lot of fun. I played it on Tuesday, and I haven't had my little bit of time before I went to my dad's. But I haven't haven't had time since then to actually carry on playing any more of it. I definitely want to.
Yeah,
I've got to,
it's a good one. It is a good game. It's like Binding of Isaac, but the rolling mechanics and using like tables as barricades and things like that's really cool. I thought.
Yeah, you can like kick tables over, can't you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
But this is a new game we haven't spoke about on podcast.
Yeah, it is a good one. It's on Switch and stuff as well, and it's quite accessible.
It's always good.
I think.
Yeah, it's always good to have a game like that as like in your back pocket to just jump on and kill some time on.
Yeah, like Crypt. I played more Crypt than Necrodancer this week. I didn't want to talk about it anymore, but that's my game at the minute, just to jump in, do a couple of runs, sort of thing.
Yeah, that is.
Nice.
I think the only other one that I've played have I played another one other than Ori, which I guess is for me new.
Yeah. How do you find Ori?
It's absolutely brilliant.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
So glad you're getting into these types of games as well.
Ori is definitely one of the better single player games I've played in that I can think of that is anything like this. I don't think I've never really played games that are like Ori, but it's so. The gameplay, like the mechanics of the gameplay, are brilliant in itself, topped with the fact that it is just stunning.
Yeah,
yeah.
And your stream was so much fun, man. It was so enjoyable watching you like overcome the different puzzles and challenges and figure it all out. Like.
Yeah,
and we had people join us in the chat as well.
Yeah.
We had some good bants.
Our stream was brilliant, man. That bloody water bit, man. We were just so hyped. the Gungeon tree was just like, oh.
One of Ben's best gaming moments. That in one of our earlier episodes.
I was so excited to watch you do it. Like I recorded it just so I could watch it back again. So I was like,
the thing is, every single time I died, I was still hyped for the beginning bit of it and doing it all because the rush was almost like it's almost like the water rushing at you and it's brilliant, man. And definitely with this game as well, you hit a point where everything clicks with you and all the mechanics come together and you kind of just you can almost fly through the game.
Yeah, you get into a flow with it.
But
what it was really frustrating because we were watching. We were like, "Is Kevin getting every single collectible that he sees, even in the bit where you were ascending the tree, and you have water right behind you? You kept like doing that little right turn and grabbing that orb. Kevin, you're gonna die."
But he did it. He got all the collectibles in it. There were 3. He got all 3 of them, man. I was like, Jesus. I'm so proud of
committed
him.
This man, so committed.
I don't know. In my head, I just thought, well, they're there, and I'm guessing they're there for a reason. So.
Yeah. So Kevin, you stream them. Are you streaming next Monday?
So it's for sure. I'll make it every Monday. I'll be streaming. If I can fit in other streams, then obviously it's a bonus.
Yeah.
But I can't guarantee other days I'm going to be able to stream because.
Yeah, that's all good. So Monday is guaranteed. Kevin is currently streaming Ori, and then have you decided on your next one yet, or are you going to leave that as a surprise?
I think I'll go for Hollow Knight. So if you're
Good
into either of them, I'll go for them. Although they are very similar types of games, they're definitely ones that they have. They're
Hollow Knight is very different.
There's sequels coming out soon, so
yeah. I think you need to play through. For someone considering how much you loved Dark Souls, like you're gonna adore Hollow Knight, man. Like it's so good. It's a big one. I can't believe you haven't played it yet, to be honest. So yeah, madness.
Yeah, I think that's.
You started playing it. You got a bit into it.
I did get a little bit into it, but I think I was a bit bored of being lost.
Easy to get lost in that game for sure.
And until I guess, I'm guessing with that game as well, everything just like hits you at a point where you kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah, it kind of. You sort of you basically use your little coin things to buy some pins, and then use the pins on your map to sort of tell yourself where the places you can't go yet are. So basically,
you learn
buy a red pin and say this red pin indicates a place where I need a double jump to get there.
Okay,
and then put that on the map, and then every time you look at the map, you know that unless you have double jump, you can't go to that area yet. And then by the process of elimination, you'll see which area you need to go to next. But I mean, I'll help on the stream, and I'm sure other Hollow Knight fans will join us and nag you and tell you what to do.
Remember me to save.
And based on the timing as well, I'll be probably playing it around the same time as you as well, because I'm going to finish Ori hopefully around the same time as you, or around the time the new one comes out, and then I'll do the same for Hollow Knight, hopefully.
Well, that's out I think it's out on my birthday, you know? I'm sure it is. Yeah. Well, that's the predicted date that they've given, so like that's what they want it to come out on. But man alive, this is a good year for gaming.
Yeah, slow start, but it's picking up.
Even this month, man, we've got Neo 2 coming out soon. We've got Doom Eternal.
Did you play the first Neo?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, not through all of it, but it was hard because I was comparing it to Dark Souls 3 a lot. But now that I've got like a more up to date Neo, I reckon I really like it. So
it looks incredible.
It does, yeah. Really hard though. Oh God, I don't know why I'm getting myself into this, but yeah. Anyway, Dan, what else you played?
Just 2 little games really. First one is Neon Abyss, which I was so excited about.
Oh, I played this as well. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
10 minutes of it. Yeah.
Played about, if that.
Yeah.
You played.
We
2
had the
runs,
Final Fantasy VII demo downloaded.
That's
all right?
true.
Come on.
That is true. I'm not criticizing you. But did you get any guns apart from the starting gun? Yeah, you didn't play that much. It's another side-scrolling roguelike. Randomly generated rooms, kill all the enemies to progress, that sort of thing.
What, like Hotline Miami?
Yeah. Just like Ori.
just like Ori.
It's got this really cool kind of almost cyberpunk vibe to it, where the whole set it's like a bar that has these basement levels to it, and it's like this kind of divey, dingy place, but they have lots of focus around electronic music and raves, stuff like that. And as you progress through the dungeon, there are it's got all those like old school neon fluorescent lights on the walls, and it feels like you're running through this really big maze labyrinth type cyberpunk bar kind of. It's got a really cool aesthetic. Again, side scrolling, some platforming mechanics. It's got all those really interesting little puzzle rooms and door unlocks that you can get to, gamble for different weapons and loadouts and stuff. It's got a really interesting variety of weapons in it and movement upgrades you can get, and I imagine the more you play, the more like synergy you'll get between your gear, like you do in trying to think of an example, Binding of Isaac or something.
It's got that very, I mean, I suppose you can call it generic now, like generic roguelike feel to it.
It's quite generic, yeah, it's quite generic. But what sells it for me is 100% the atmosphere and the pumping soundtrack. Yeah. Like, it's so hypey when you're playing it. It's got really well-crafted modern electronic music in it, like proper like heavy drum and bass type stuff and some trance type stuff if you're into all that, which I personally am, so for me it's perfect. Might not be up everybody's street, but when you're playing a game like this, which is really fast paced with lots of bullet hell boss fights and stuff like that, it just really gets you into the zone, and it's great. And I haven't got this far, I don't know if this is included in the demo yet, but later on in the dungeons, apparently there are sort of even deeper underground raves that you can go to, where there are mini games and dancing competitions and all these like crazy visuals on the walls and speakers bouncing around and stuff. It's really cool. Like, even the starting location, there's this moment in the hub, which is basically you sitting at the bar having a drink or whatever before you descend back into the dungeon. there's this whole crowd of people just dancing near you, and you can kind of walk into the crowd, and there's a DJ at the front, and he's got like all these big kaleidoscope screens behind him, and these big old, it's all like pixel art, kind of like 16-bit pixel art, and these massive like sound system speakers that are like bouncing with the bass line, and you can go and like merge into the crowd and just dance with everybody, and it's stupid. You don't interact with them, you just press a button to dance, and suddenly the music kind of gets, the filter gets cut off it, and it fades into the foreground, and the music is just so powerful, and it gets you really hyped up, and you do a little dance, and then you jump down the tunnel when you go and slay some monsters, and it's great, man. I absolutely love this. I love everything about it. I mean, it's not doing much in terms of new gameplay mechanics so far as I can tell, apart from the whole focus on raving and dancing and all that. But it's a lot of fun, and what it does do, it does really well. And I can see why Team 17 picked it up. Team 17 published a lot of other really well-received indie games of all different types of genre and lots of variety there, but they generally pick up quite high-quality products, and I can't remember from the top of my head the company that made this. Sorry, I've forgotten your guys' names. I'll tag you. But yeah, they've produced a really cool game here. It's just cool. It's just oozing coolness and just
oozing
nice
coolness.
vibes. And yeah.
You know what it's oozing in? It's oozing in the type of that game that Dan loves. Somehow you manage to find these games all the time, and they're just so up your street.
Yeah, you remember how I was in Borderlands in that rave boss at the start of the game when I was getting, when me and you were playing it, I was getting so hyped, like dancing around the dance floor, like this is mad. So yeah, I'm big into my electronic music, and sort of, you know, that kind of stuff. So for me, maybe it's a bit biased, but it is a good game. It's got lots of interesting weapons and fun bosses and very nice enemy design. And it plays really well. It's really smooth, and the movement's good. You know, controller, mouse and keyboard as well. So it's got a free demo. There's no harm in picking it up and playing it. Give it a chance. Try and get to the point where you get more than the starting weapon.
Wow, that felt a bit personal.
I think you can... You'll see what it's capable. Like at one point, I had a weapon, for example, that didn't shoot, but instead it shot two like orbs of energy out the end of my gun in opposite directions, which stopped at a certain point about, you know, a few meters from my character in game terms, and then rotated around. So I had this like spinning and connected together with a big laser. So I had this like spinning laser thing, but I didn't have any range. So I combined that with another power up, which let me fly. So I was flying around and like basically spinning this giant laser disc to kill enemies, and that was a lot of fun. And it changed completely how I fought the bosses.
I think games like this require a lot of stuff in it, you know, a lot of combinations and a lot of items and a lot of weapons. And
well,
if it has that,
the full game is going to have 400.
Oh, perfect! There you go. Then.
Yeah,
because I've played a lot of games like this,
in the
and
demo.
some of them, if they don't have a lot of, you know, versatility and different combinations and unique combinations,
like Risk of Rain.
It just gets a bit stale quite quickly.
It seems like it's definitely going to have that, lots of that variety.
I want to play it.
And quirkiness and silly weapons and stuff.
I want to play it for 100 hours, and I want every run to feel completely different. That's the idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun, and it's roguelite, so you do keep some
Is it
progress. There's
roguelite?
skill trees and
Not roguelike.
I think there's different things. I might be mistaken, but as far as I'm aware,
I feel like it is roguelite.
Really?
I think they're two different things. I think roguelike is you keep no progress, you start back at the beginning. You don't keep anything.
Oh, roguelite is kind of half.
Oh,
roguelite is a lighter version where you keep some progress.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, because I keep hearing different people say the different ones. I wasn't sure what the difference is. I've learned something new today.
Yay. So it's a roguelite.
Yes.
Which is cool, so you can level
take
up.
back
And
more
there seems to be
dance
lots of different characters and stuff as well. I think it's going to have a lot of content, and I'm really looking forward to it. Play the demo just for the gameplay side of it, and it's coming out soon. It was announced at PAX East, I believe.
Nice.
So, but it's coming up pretty soon, Q2 maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
It's pretty mad that that's coming out that soon, and we're still waiting for moving out.
Yeah. Oh no! I just pressed the hotkey on my keyboard inside Audacity. Has anything happened? No. It's
and we're gone.
Also, Also, a minute ago, when Kevin was speaking, I spent about 15 seconds trying to rub a mark off my screen, and I just realised it's a comma.
Bloody punctuation.
The other game I've played in preparation for up-and-coming events this month is Doom.
Doom.
Oh, you've been playing Doom?
Blimey.
What, like OG Doom or new Doom?
Doom. Doom, like 1993.
You've been playing old school Doom?
Yeah.
That's mad! How is it? How does it hold up?
I just suddenly got the urge to... Because I'm not very good with retro games. I generally find them to be a bit dated, and I play them for a bit, and I'm like,
really?
It just doesn't. It's not. Well, obviously, yes. But it doesn't feel the same as when you first played it. Obviously, it doesn't look the same. You remember it looking amazing, and so. Doom is famous because it basically popularized first-person shooters. Wolfenstein 3D came first, I believe, which was the year before, the year I was born, 92, and Doom came out the year after. It's really interesting to go back and play it, because so much of what it did so early on has carried through to what... I mean, obviously, the guys that are remaking Doom now are trying to be quite authentic and close to the original, but they still feel extremely modern and up-to-date and fresh.
Yeah.
But what Doom was doing then is amazing. It really is amazing. Like, it's a first-person shooter, but there's no up and down axis. There's no y-axis for aiming, so you can only aim left and right. Spin around on the spot, basically. Well, you don't really. But it's interesting how it does it. Like, if an enemy's on a platform above you, like on a balcony, and you aim in their general direction and get relatively close, your character will automatically sort of project the bullets up towards them.
Oh, okay.
And when you describe it or look at someone playing it, it feels like there's no skill involved in it at all. You just kind of look in the general direction and press the trigger. But it's such a fast-paced, intense game to play even now. And the sprites are amazing. Like, for the age that they are, the sprites of the enemies look phenomenal. Like, you can see them taking damage and the impact from the shots, and then when they die, they kind of fall into a 2D heap on the ground. But it's just very visceral and very intense. And then the sound effects are great. The soundtrack is still really good. Like, it's like 8-bit almost, but it's so good. Yeah. And it's just so much fun. You move so quickly with the sprint button through the levels, and you have to just spin around and react to things so quickly. You're managing ammo and health and armor.
You playing it on the Switch?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it was like £1 in the sale. I was like,
I might have to check it out, because it did cross my mind when I was scrolling through the sale and I saw it, and I was like, oh man.
Well, yeah. If it's still on sale now, I got this for like £1 something. The second one was also like £2, and Doom 3, which I played a little bit of when it first came out, but not much, is like £2 as well. So I think I got all 3 games for £5.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's really interesting to go back to the first, like the actual source of like fast-paced first-person shooters, and see what's changed and also what hasn't. It's really cool. Like, the weapons are cool. The animation when you load that shotgun and like point blank somebody in the face is so good.
So some of the weapons in that game are insane, man.
Yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy. So yeah, I got hooked on it actually. I thought I was just gonna play it for a bit to feel it out and just put it away, but I played through like the whole first chapter. It doesn't take very long. The whole first chapter in one sit-in, and then sort of dabbled in the second one and started to get a bit deeper into hell, and it was getting darker and scarier, and new enemies are appearing, and I was like, this is so fucking cool. for a game that's like almost 30 years old, this is cool as hell.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad that a game that's 30 years old holds up that well. I can't believe that.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of like the Final Fantasy VII argument. I don't know how much of that is nostalgia, because I loved it way back. I absolutely loved it. But at the same time, I think if you just give it some credit for the age that it is, and for the fact that nobody had really done this before ever, it's like a completely new game perspective. It's just fascinating to play, and actually still fun, like a lot of fun.
It's mad. I think the main thing that I get from this is, like, look at the other games that came out around that time, and like nothing came even close to that
sort of level of detail and fun and fast paced, and you know, it's just so old.
Yeah.
Like, for something of that quality to be that old is just insane. Like, people talk about GoldenEye, you know, talk about it being like one of the best games ever, sort of thing, but this is quite a lot older than that, you know.
Yeah.
Quite a lot older, and does a lot of the things that GoldenEye does, you know. So
yeah,
it's pretty mad.
Yeah, and it's just I just want to give credit to the level design as well. It's quite small and simple, but you can see them trying to get certain moments in there. Like, you can look out of windows and see these mountainscapes, but they're not really mountainscapes. It's like a really low resolution photograph that's been like fisheye warped when you look at it, so it looks like you're looking at this big 3D landscape, but you're not. But it's really clever what they've done to achieve that. And lots of like 3D pillars that you'll look at. If you look at them, just observe them and stop, then it's just like a 2D texture that rotates around the object with you. Doesn't matter what angle you look at it.
Yeah.
But when you're pacing through these levels and you've got demons coming at you from all angles, you're not focused on that, and it just ties together. And you're in these like sci-fi crazy spaceship alien moon base environments, and then you'll see these like creepy demonic chandeliers and these like candlesticks in certain places, and they've got an atmosphere there for a game so old to have such an atmosphere. Yeah, man, so cool. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to keep playing it. I love it. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I touched on Ori again, and I've just started to play Crypt of the Necrodancer after your Dancer. From Northern. Crypt of the Necrodancer for us Southerners. Just a little bit. And yeah, from what I played I think I played the early access, the beta of that when it first sort of released or something, and there wasn't any of the, from what I remember anyway, there wasn't any of the calibration, so timing felt a bit off when I first played it, and I don't remember the soundtrack being as good as it is.
That's mad at that. It's so good.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm loving the general energy.
Yeah. It's hype, man.
So I'll probably go to that a bit more and just mess around on that from time to time
Nice.
as well. And yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Kev,
Hello.
why do you sound so far away?
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, much better. Go, hit us with some feedback. What we got?
You have been dabbling in the old reviews, haven't you?
Yeah. A little smidgen. I've only done one, but yeah.
Yeah, but with that, you've kind of joined a little community.
Yeah.
And we got a nice little question from one human called Jetpack Watchdog Today.
Yes.
It says...
Not today, no, that's when he sent it, you melon.
Oh, yeah, it is. There was no space, that's the problem.
Oh, his name's just Jetpack Watchdog. He also has a Twitch, by the way, and it's a very enjoyable watch, so go check it out.
It says, how about, really out of the box, but it could be fun to think about, the worst character you wouldn't want handling your taxes?
I love this question.
So do I have no idea where to begin.
Nope.
But handling...
Shall I go? I've got one straight off the bat. It's just first thing that came to my head. Have you ever had to file taxes for yourself, either of you? Kevin, you work in payroll, so you maybe get some of it. Like, you... No?
I haven't done myself, but...
Okay, well, it's a notoriously frustrating process a lot of the time, which is why lots of people hire an accountant to do it, right? So the worst person I can imagine having to file their own self-assessments is probably the Doomslayer from Doom. I imagine he'd get a bit angry.
That's a good one.
I just imagine him just losing his shit, looking at the spreadsheets, doing it for about 5 minutes and being like, no,
having to call HMRC.
And that's where the demons live.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how Doom started. I don't know. No, isn't it a question of filing our taxes? Someone filing my taxes?
Or handling your taxes,
Sure.
yeah. Your own
So who would I hire as an accountant, basically?
yeah.
Who would you least
likely hire
Yeah.
as my accountant? Someone
Someone who's sneaky. Who's sneaky?
That's a good point. That's a good one. Who wouldn't you trust with your money?
I think.
You think the amount of games?
No,
are
you know
out there in the
what? I
world,
think
can't think of any.
mine would be Donald Duck from Kingdom Hearts.
Why?
Because I hate phone calls, right? So I hate phone calls as it is, and I'm really deaf, so which is why I shout all the time. And my phone's broken, so I can't hear people anyway. Well, I say it's broken, I might just be even more deaf than I thought it was. But I can only imagine him calling me up to ask me a question about something and having to have that awkward thing of asking him to repeat himself like 5 times, and I would just find it really frustrating. So I think Donald Duck. I wish I could do a Donald Duck impression now, because that would just be the best phone call ever, man.
Hey, yeah. Donald, how my taxis going?
So,
That was amazing.
Oh, it's going to sound so much worse when we listen back to it, trust me.
That was good.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I would go for would... That was amazing, honestly.
I'm quite proud of myself now. Yeah.
I hit new heights on the loudness of the podcast.
Yeah.
I went like below 0. Or higher than 0. I'd go for Isaac from Binding of Isaac. 2 reasons. 1, he's a kid. He probably knows absolutely nothing about it.
Kids can't do taxes.
2, he seems to spend his money a lot on slot machines and giving it to random people. Random items.
Yeah, Isaac's got a serious gambling addiction.
That's so good.
And also he's got a crazy mother that might, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. That's a good one. Oh,
Excellent.
we got another one as well, right?
We did, yeah. I'm gonna try and figure out where you sent that.
Oh, I could just tell you if you want. It's from Mr. Kevin L.
Oh yeah, no, I know where it is. I see it. I remember.
All right, go on.
Said, what's the worst game you've ever played?
Oh, I should have thought about this one.
Yeah, I'd forgotten we had this actually.
I think Ben's is easy, isn't it? Just a 1.5 hours.
Oh.
No, it's not the worst game I've ever played. It's down there. It's in the dregs of the barrel for sure, but I don't know. I might have to look on my Steam quickly. You know.
I'm struggling top of my head. That's a difficult one.
Because most of every game usually has its, has a positive point about it.
Some silver lining of some kind. Yeah.
But even the convenience store, whatever it's called.
I mean, that I was considering that.
To be fair, that could well be. I mean,
there was one game I got with the Humble Bundle once, and it was some ninja game, and I played it for like maybe, I don't know, about 2 hours, because I kept thinking there must be more to this game, and the longer I went on, the less there was anything to it, and I was just like, this was just honestly the biggest waste of time I've ever had in my life.
But we don't know what it's called.
No, maybe like no.
It's just a ninja game. You've mentioned this before as well. You need to find out what that game is. Okay, I can tell you the biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I've got a disappointing one.
Which would be Resident Evil 6. Because I was like next level hyped for that. So, I'd say Resident Evil 6 would be my most disappointing game. I don't know about worst though. I'm still looking. Go on.
World of
disappointment. I would say Dawn of War 3, because I loved the Dawn of War series. Like, genuinely loved it. It's one of my favorite RTS games series ever. I loved the 40k universe with like a burning passion, and that game was fucking
Did
dreadful.
we have a top 5 of the most disappointing games?
I'm sure we did, yeah, but I don't
I
expect people
can't-
to
yeah,
go
I
back
can't
to
remember.
episode 2, whatever it was.
You know what? One of the worst
Yeah.
games I've ever played? World of Tanks. What a load of fucking shit that game is.
That game's mad popular, man.
I know, and I don't understand
Yeah.
why. It's just, honestly, it was terrible.
Oh, man. That makes me sad. You know what, actually? I think the worst game I've ever played, and this includes a convenience store. Alright, so Resident Evil 6 is not the worst game I've ever played. It's just the most disappointing. I think the worst game I've played is probably my time at Portia.
That was dreadful.
It was dreadful, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we were hearing so much hype about it, and we played it, I think, like in the same week or something.
Yeah.
It was so terrible.
Yeah. It looked...
I couldn't get more than like 45 minutes in, not even that, like half an
Yeah.
hour into it. I just couldn't deal with it.
It looked hideous. It was played hideous. It resonated hideousness. It was just, did not like that at all. And I know a lot of people do like it, and I mean, I'm not even going to apologise for offending you, because why the fudge do you like that? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand. I genuinely do not get how it got any positive reception. Probably the same way you feel about Control, which is obviously a way bigger thing. But
You guys will see
people
one
seem
day.
to love Portia. People seem to absolutely adore it, and I can't understand it. The whole opening sequence is so horrible and cringy, and it's just grim at every corner. There's nothing about that game that is. That's a good shout, actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good shout.
I think, I mean, I didn't even see that because it's not on my Steam, thank God. But
I thought you were going to pick Blair Witch.
no, it wasn't the worst game I've ever played. It had a lot of issues, and it was definitely like a 3 out of 10 game, but it was not my time at Portia level, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin?
Do you know of any more feedback we have? Oh no! Oh yeah. Someone had a little cheeky comment about one of the posts that Ben put up on Instagram. He was asking about any like indie games that you recommend or people recommend, and one of the games that Ben had put up as like a background was what was the one he described last
The suicide
week?
of Rachel
Sui-
Foster.
Yeah, Suicide of Rachel Foster. And let me just quickly get it up. Someone's response to it, a malicious space. I guess he's quite malicious with his response. It says, "Don't recommend the Suicide of Rachel Foster. It idolises a relationship between an adult and a minor." Bear in mind, the first time I read this, I thought it said an adult and a mirror. Adult and a minor.
So this person clearly hasn't played the game, and that's that. I mean, don't comment
There we go.
on something if you don't know what you're talking about, because the game does not idolise that at all. Like it doesn't. I mean, at
Zero.
at a slight push, nothing. It doesn't. It's a bad thing, and they make it. They tell you like it's. They don't put any opinion on it. I think that's maybe what they're getting at. They don't really put an opinion on it. They don't say this is bad. You know, this is a bad relationship sort of thing. It's like no, they don't say that. You know, your character acts shocked when they find out sort of thing, but that's about it. Like it's not. They don't need to outright say it's bad. I don't understand what you mean by idolising it. I think that's a load of bollocks, personally. But sorry if I offend you. But get educated before you get recucated.
Nice. Linguistic genius.
Yeah. And I guess the last piece I have is which is a bit of I believe he spoke about it in it might have been this one or it might have been the other one we just recorded. He said that he watched one of the best live streams he's ever seen earlier on, but he did say one of the best because obviously the best live stream he's ever seen was mine.
Obviously.
So yeah, that was a nice little bit of a live feedback about streaming, not so much about the podcast, but you know.
Wait, who said that?
Dan.
Wait, on what?
You
What?
said you watched one of the best live streams. I think it was the for the game Baldur's Gate, wasn't it? The live stream. You said it was really funny.
Are you reading out my comment on our own channel?
Because obviously the best stream you've ever watched is my stream.
Don't think
Okay,
that's
okay.
feedback.
It's live feedback. It's there. It's about me.
Oh.
Yes, sorry, I meant second best.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right.
This guy.
So, Kev, I know you've said this numerous times today already, but finally, how do people get in contact if they want to leave some feedback or questions?
I can't remember. How's it again? We've got Instagram, which is Praise the Pickle Podcast, and we've got Twitter and Facebook, which is Praise the Pickle, or you can go to email, which is praisethepicklепodcast@gmail.com.
.com indeed.
I knew you were going to say that.
Of course I was. And that's it from us. So, another week. We're done, guys.
Another game.
Another week. Another set of games. Another set of records hit. Don't know which ones yet, but yeah. That's it. We're done. We're out.
Right.
We love you all. We're going to leave you all until next week. Toodaloo.
Pickle mother.
Fucker.